Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Rogue Agent Answers. My name is the Rogue Agent. Some people call me David Lewis, and every week I answer one of the many life insurance related questions that I've received from clients, from email subscribers on the daily email list, questions floated to me from across the interwebs, in the comments sections, which I know you're not supposed to read, or just interactions that I've had with people in real life over the past 20 years, which is a long time. And some of these questions I just scribbled down on scrap pieces of paper. Some of these are stuff I've written down on my phone. Some of it is on Post-it notes scattered all over the office. And every week I answer one of those questions. So if you'd like to ask your question, drop them in the comments section or join my email list for more life insurance tips and advice at monogenics.com. monegenics.com. And now for this week's question.
What does premium offset mean, and when can I use it? So premium offset allows you to use accumulated dividends, current dividends, or a combination of both to pay current and future premiums on your life insurance policy. And this specifically refers to whole life insurance. But there's something kind of similar that can happen with universal life. But for right now, I'm going to just explain this in reference to whole life insurance. So you can turn this feature on and off at life insurance companies. And depending on the insurance company, you might be restricted to maybe like a once per year switching between premium offset and out-of-pocket pay, or you might have to meet other premium requirements before this feature becomes available. This is an option that you might consider using if you need to take a break from paying premiums, for example, to repay a policy loan. Or if you're in some sort of financial jam and can't really make your normal premiums for the year. Sometimes policyholders elect this as an option because they initially planned to make 5 annual premium payments, and then they just wanted future premiums to be optional. So the premium offset allows a policyholder to just pay a small number of premiums and then make the policy kind of pay for itself, in a sense, recycling premiums, taking accumulated policy values and then doing what amounts, in technical terms, what happens is just a partial surrender of the accumulated values to pay the base premium, which then boosts the policy values back up again. So the net is that the policy grows. It just grows at a slower rate than if the policyholder was making out-of-pocket premium payments. So some companies make this a lot easier than others, just because of some companies have more flexible paid-up additions riders. Penn Mutual comes to mind. The Guardian is another company. Some companies are just easier. And by the way, I'm not necessarily promoting these companies. They're just, for example, some companies have really flexible paid-up additions riders that allow you to vary the premium up and down so that you can use premium offset and still contribute to the policy through paid-up additions if you want to do that later. In any case, most companies do offer something similar to a premium offset option on their whole life insurance policy. So if you have policies with other insurance companies, just check to see if your policy has this option. It might be useful for you to use in the future. In regards to universal life, because I know that's become very, very popular, especially over the last 10 years with indexed universal life. There's no premium offset option on universal life. Instead, what the insurance company does is you can just stop paying premiums, and the accumulated policy values will pay for the cost of insurance and policy charges, because there's no guaranteed level premium on a universal life, with the exception of guaranteed universal life, but that's kind of its own niche kind of product. But for most universal life, and especially for index life, there's no guaranteed level premium, and so you don't have to make this premium. It's not something that needs to be paid out of pocket or paid at all. So the insurance company is just going to deduct policy charges from the cash surrender value. And then if there whatever cash surrender value is left over after those charges have been deducted, interest credits go back in, and the process repeats until there's no more cash value. And as a policyholder, it's your responsibility to keep adding premium. Now, they're not going to beg you for premium. They're not going to beat down your door and demand that you pay it either. So it really is a policy type where you can pay whatever you want, and when you want to stop, you don't have to use any kind of premium offsetting to make sure the premium gets paid. You just stop paying premiums. Now, a lot of people like the flexibility of that, but there's also a risk. Because there's no guaranteed level premium, it also means that there's nothing that is going to force the policy to stay in force. There's a risk in universal life that the insurance company can raise the cost of insurance and lower the crediting rate to the guaranteed maximum and minimums, respectively, until the policy just lapses. If the insurance company can raise the cost of insurance up to the maximum allowable in the contract, and then lower the lower the crediting rate to the guaranteed minimum. Usually pulling those levers in just about every universal life policy that I've seen over the last 20 years or so. I think I've seen maybe a handful of exceptions to this, but basically nearly all universal life works kind of the same way. They pull those two levers and they raise the charges up to the maximum, lower the crediting to the minimum, and that kind of sucks the cash value right out of the policy, and it essentially forces the policy to go towards lapse. And insurance companies can do this if they need to do it, because universal life is not designed to be this guaranteed product. It's designed to be what's called an assumption-driven product. So you don't see this premium offset because it's just not a function of the policy. It's not part of what happens to it. On whole life insurance, however, premium offset is a way to continue to pay that guaranteed level premium to make sure the policy stays in force using accumulated policy values without sacrificing cash value growth.
Okay, that's it for this week's question. If you'd like to add your question to the list, just drop them in the comment section or send me an email. And if you want more life insurance tips and advice, just head on over to monogenics.com, monegeniix.com, and sign up for my daily email list.